G'day everyone, I'm Aza Whitnall and this is Aza World Sport, where each week I talk about various different news, stories and topics from within the world of sport, but predominantly football. And the Euros are now officially only a few days away. Yes. Now, if you've been watching my other videos, then you may have seen in my previous one, I spoke about who I would have taken if I was Roy Hodgson to Euro 2016 in the England team or England squad. Today's video, I want to focus on who should start out of all of the England players that are going to Euro 2016. Now, if any of you saw the game against Portugal, which unfortunately I did, it was pretty boring to say the least. But hey, we won, that's all that matters. Then you probably would have seen that he started with Kane and Vardy up front and Rooney just slightly further back. Now, in terms of his starting 11, I'm pretty much going near enough the same. I would actually start with Joe Hart in goal. I would actually start with Kyle Walker at right back over Nathaniel Klein. I just think that Kyle Walker, he has had a phenomenal season. And as good as Nathaniel Klein has been for Liverpool this season, Tottenham had such a fantastic season. But I also think that to have Kyle Walker in the team with the other players that I'm going to be putting in the team, it means that there will actually be a better chemistry between certain players on the pitch, and you'll understand what I mean as I go on. I also think that if you've been watching the friendlies that Kyle Walker has been playing in for England, I actually think that he does deserve his chance to start. I think that even though Klein's been brilliant, Walker has proved himself just in the last few friendlies. So that's just who I would go with at right back. I would then have Gary Cahill and Chris Smalling at centre backs. I would have said John Stones at the start of the season. I'm really excited at the fact that John Stones is in the England frame, and I think him and Chris Smalling, between them, can have a real phenomenal partnership. It's going to be interesting to see where John Stones goes over this summer, whether he stays at Everton or whether he goes to another team. I think that he does have to develop his game a little bit more. I think that's been evident this season with some of the mistakes that he has made in games, but I think that could also be put down to the way he was managed by Roberto Martinez. But we'll get into that in another video. At left back, I would have Danny Rose because, again, I think he's had a phenomenal season with Tottenham and I think he deserves his space, just edging out Ryan Bertrand for me in the starting 11. Moving into the midfield, and I would have Eric Dyer as a holding midfield player. I think that one's fairly obvious, but hopefully here straight away you can see that already just in three of the players that I've mentioned towards the back, we've got three players who play for the same team and who would have had a fantastic understanding through playing for their club as well as their country going into this tournament as well. So he would sit in the midfield for me and he would effectively be an anchor that would actually stay back pretty much the entire game. I wouldn't be getting Eric Dyer to do too much really. Just in front of him, and this is where it starts to get interesting, I would actually have Wayne Rooney and James Milner instead of Dele Alli. I would actually have Dele Alli playing at the top of what is effectively a diamond in midfield. I'd have Dele Alli playing as our number 10. Wayne Rooney and James Milner just behind. Why? Let's put it this way. We, as you may have seen in my previous video, if you haven't, please check it out, then you would have seen that I really think we should have taken either Danny Drinkwater and Mark Noble to the Euros. Because we haven't, James Milner, for me, is that person who can be the real workhorse midfield, that box-to-box midfielder. I think he's been phenomenal for Liverpool this season. And I'm pretty sure in the second half of the season, he had one of the highest assists stats out of any of the major leagues in Europe. So it shows you the kind of form he's going into the Euros in. He's got the experience, which is great. Because what I think is so fantastic about this team and this squad is that we do actually have a mixture of youth and experience. So I would have him just as our box-to-box, and as hopefully we do start to attack more and more as our confidence grows in the competition, fingers crossed, then he will be that player that would probably hold a bit more if we came up against some of the stronger teams. Wayne Rooney I would have not as our number 10, just because I think Rooney can be that man who can calm things down in the midfield for us. We've seen his passing ability. If you look at his performances, playing that deeper role for Manchester United in midfield, in the FA Cup final, in the FA Cup semi-final against Everton, and also in the last couple of league games, I think his range of passing was fantastic. Not perfect, but he is adapting to that role. And also, we all know Wayne Rooney is a workhorse as well. So I think him and Milner would be the two best suited players in our squad for that role if we're going with our strongest possible team. And then playing just behind the top two, I would have Dele Alli. Because as my top two, I would have Kane and Vardy. I would have Vardy right on the edge of that defence, or the opposition defence. And I think Dele Alli has got this range of freedom. I mean, if you look at the Germany friendly, he absolutely destroyed Germany playing in that kind of number 10 role, really, for England. He absolutely loves having that freedom, and I think he's one player that really rises to the occasion, as we've seen this season. He's got a fantastic partnership with Harry Kane. He's best friends with Eric Dyer, and he knows exactly how Danny Rose and Kyle Walker are going to be moving down those flanks as well. So I think he would be the perfect link man between midfield and attack. He scored goals for Tottenham this season, and I mean, we saw the absolute belter he scored against France at Wembley. So I think he would be the perfect player to play number 10 for us instead of Wayne Rooney. And then, as I said, I would have Kane and Vardy right up front. The difference I would make in terms of the tactics we played against Portugal is instead of getting Kane and Vardy to track the fullbacks back, I wouldn't get them to do that at all. I want England to be as attacking as possible, and I would actually have Kane and Vardy right up there the entire time. Kane just drop back a tiny little bit, but as far as I'm concerned, it's Milner and Rooney and Dyer that are the ones going to be the shields, along with Smalling and Cahill, so that way we can actually focus on having Danny Rose and Kyle Walker just causing all kinds of issues down that flank. So even though it is fairly narrow, hopefully you can see by having those workhorses further back and having the players who enjoy to express themselves a little bit more, like your Kyle Walker's going forward, your Danny Rose is going forward, yeah, Dele Alli's, and of course your Kane and Vardy's. We can have Rooney to really calm that down and spread the ball. We can have Milner really working back and forth. And then, of course, we've got those three who are holding the entire time. So, for me, that is my starting England 11. Just to recap, it's Joe Hart in goal, Kyle Walker at right back, Gary Cahill and Chris Smalling as centre-backs, Danny Rose at left-back. I would have Eric Dyer holding. I would then have James Milner and Wayne Rooney just in front of him in almost like a midfield three. And then a front three that would see Dele Alli playing just behind Jamie Vardy and Harry Kane. So that's my England team, or starting England team for the Euros. Please let me know what yours would be, if you agree with my England team, or if you think that there's anything I may have missed, or any players that you really think that I need to take into consideration more. And who do you think Roy should stick with, or who do you think he should start with at the Euros? Please comment below, let me know. As always, if you want to see all things to do with wildlife, adventure and sports, then AZAWorld is your place, and I will see you again very soon. Come on, England!